1931, Broadway. Well, off-Broadway. There were these radical, experimental performances being done, not in the name of art, but in the name of communism and workers' rights. These performances were being done by the Workers' Theater, and they know that art is a weapon. In the beginning of the Great Depression, the American labor movement was facing massive issues. People were losing faith in the AFL, America's largest union, due to the continued decline of wages. Seeing this, many people who believed in communism used it as a point for agitation propaganda. The drama of organized labor inherently has theatrical tactics involved with it, such as strikers for UAW, mimicking legislators, and very famously, the IWW's 1913 Patterson Strike pageant, which was a play performance that showed the history of the strike and a preferred outcome. In the 1920s and 30s, a lot of the American theatrical landscape has de-radicalized and sort of become more mainstream. Workers' theaters wanted to show a true glimpse of what life could look like outside of capitalism. This is some of the first examples of the socialist realist art movement, and it just gave the workers the ability to imagine a better world possible. Communists knew the more people saw the messages they put out, the more people would start to agree and start to want to buck against systems of unjust oppression. At first, it was just a means of literacy, but socialist realism went beyond that, jumping off of the page and onto the stage to spread the words of Marx. A great example of these socialist realist worker theaters is the IWDU, or the International Workers' Dramatic Union was a large-scale international effort from multiple countries to express and contrast the decay of capitalism with the hope of communism. The IWDU was made up of playwrights and players from the Soviet Union, Germany, Czechoslovakia, France, England, Japan, and the United States. The IWDU was able to provide new and exciting plays about the material conditions that workers faced in their environment. This was an incredible method to get people into the movement. The League of Workers' Theaters of the USA took IWDU's message and ran with it, having affiliate theaters from across the country, from LA to New York, all spreading agitation propaganda. The worker theaters saw art as bigger than the classic view. They understood that the bourgeoisie, as the cultural hegemon, defined the meaning of art, using classical art to reinforce their interest. As the Prolet Buehne put, playing the role of the capitalist in the play Art is a Weapon.
That is, art is a weapon. Art is a weapon in the fight for my interests. The tens of thousands of various forms of art, all non-political. All these works of art do not state but imply, and hammer away as though it were a fact. That the United States is the freest country in the world, that the laws of the country are made for the benefit of the workers, that the workers must fight and die for their country, that every worker not born here is inferior and suspicious, that every worker not born white is inferior and despicable, and so on and so forth. Now then, art is a weapon in the fight for my interests, of course, quite confidentially, between ourselves.
Interrupting the capitalist definition of art, the workers would bust out and define art as a new expression, as a form of revolution.
Art is the expression of our yearning of slaves for freedom, yearning of the hungry for bread, yearning of the homeless for shelter, yearning of the persecuted for rest. Yearning of the unemployed for work.
Yearning of the victims of capitalist brutality for justice.
Yearning of the suppressed class for the abolition of all classes. Yearning of the rebellious for the final conflict. Art is a weapon. Art is a weapon. Theater is a weapon in the class struggle.
And that is the thesis statement of these worker theaters, that art could be changed and shaped into a weapon to create class consciousness. Art as a weapon was seen by thousands of people across multiple countries and continents in multiple languages. The legacy of the IWDU can be felt today. Even now, you can go off-Broadway and watch an experimental play that somehow talks about the meaning of life in a capitalist system, but also you can feel it through a lot of radical films from the 30s and 40s from the Soviet Union. Truly, socialist realist theater made art more accessible for so many people.